Hey, Doctor Who fans, huge news for Matt Smith and Karen Gillan. So, the BBC just confirmed that Matt Smith will be leaving Doctor Who. That's in 2014, so we do have a little bit of time left with him. If you remember, I actually talked about how he was probably going to leave after next season in a previous video. There are links to that in the description below. We're all so sad to see him go because 11 is the best, am I right? But he does have a long career in Hollywood ahead of him. He stars in Ryan Gosling's directorial debut, How to Catch a Monster, this year, so you will be able to see plenty of him going forward. I'll be talking about who should be his replacement for the 12th Doctor in a future video, so be sure and subscribe to get it. Chidwell Ejiofor. But now let's talk about Karen Gillan. She is blowing up. She just got cast in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Let's all give each other a high five, Doctor Who fans. Karen Gillan is the new lead female villain in Guardians of the Galaxy. I was really surprised when I heard this just because she hasn't been in any major blockbuster movies since moving to Hollywood last year. She is in a Katie Sackhoff movie and she has a couple other projects coming, but this is so much bigger. Now, I know it's a little bit weird to think of Karen Gillan as a villain, but if you want to see a good example of what she might be like in Guardians of the Galaxy, watch Doctor Who Series 6, Episode 10, The Girl Who Waited. She plays a version of Amy that gets stranded on a planet for decades and gets a little grumpy in the process. She also wields a badass sword. Wouldn't it just be amazing if Matt Smith was leaving Doctor Who to do Guardians of the Galaxy? You know that Groot and Rocket Raccoon have not been cast yet. What if Arthur Darvill was cast as the voice of Rocket Raccoon and Matt Smith as the voice of Groot? Wouldn't that just be hilarious? But right now, let's talk about who she's playing in the movie. I've got a list here with a couple of good contenders. Malevolence, Nebula, Karina, a female Beyonder, leader of the Universal Church of Truth, Medusa, Raven, or even Death. Personally, I think she's either Nebula or Karina, and here's why. Nebula is actually the daughter of Thanos, and while Marvel has said that he is not the villain in Guardians of the Galaxy, he will be the villain in Avengers 2, and using his granddaughter as a tie to include him in the larger story that's going to span Phase 2 just could be a reason for casting her. Think of the character as being like a cosmic cube, a runner across a couple different movies that just helps link a larger story together. In all honesty, I don't think it's Nebula just because that would necessitate including a lot of extra mythology, and I think Marvel is going to try and keep this movie as simple as possible just because there are so many characters. That leads me to the more likely candidate, Karina. In order to understand who Karina is, you have to understand Korvac, which also leads me to some Lee Pace theories. So Korvac is a really ambiguous figure that's actually turned into a cyborg and made to be a villain sent back in time to fight Doctor Strange and a lot of the other Marvel heroes in an alternate universe. Currently, that universe is actually featured in Brian Michael Bendis' Age of Ultron. So Korvac ends up becoming too powerful to handle, so cosmic powers turn one of their daughters, Karina, into a tool against him. He ends up falling in love with Korvac, and they become this supervillain team that fights the Avengers and other Marvel superheroes. Personally, I think that whoever they end up playing, they'll be retconned either way. So even though Korvac and Karina are fairly cosmic and a little out there, it's totally possible that they could be in the movie. So now shipping Lee Pace and Karen Gillan for Guardians of the Galaxy. Think of them like an evil Amy Pond and Rory. High fives! Let me know who you think she's playing in the comments below. Honestly, I just really hope that it's a character that allows her to be in Avengers 2, but there's a lot of theories, so write in the comments and we'll discuss. Right now, the only characters that haven't been cast in the movie are Rocket Raccoon and Groot. Now, the movie isn't going to be released till August of 2014, so they're not going to be cast till much, much later in the process just because they'll either be CG or motion capture, so we probably won't find out who they are for a long time. But don't worry, I'll be posting updates and spoilers as soon as they come along, so subscribe to get all those videos. In the meantime, I've got a ton of other Marvel movie spoilers. You can watch those by clicking here, and you can reminisce about Amy Pond and Matt Smith on Doctor Who by clicking here. Thanks for watching! Don't forget, Game of Thrones Red Wedding tomorrow. Now excuse me while I go cry about Matt Smith leaving Doctor Who. High fives. Sad high five.